is Vivian Vanessa with student number B102420104. I'm a student from Management in International class in Universitas Tanjung Pura. So today in this video, I would like to give a summary about the chapter 6 of the book that me, my friend, and sir has already discussed in the class before. So this chapter is about recruiting and labor market. So here it is. Okay, first of all, I'll talk about the definition of recruitment itself. So, from Yoder as the example here, his perspective towards recruitment is a process to discover the sources of manpower, to meet the requirements of a staffing schedule, and to employ effective measures for attracting that manpower and educate the numbers to facilitate the selection of an efficient working workforce. Okay, then recruitment itself is important. Why? Because it is a part of HR planning strategy, which is needed to be planned well in order to achieve the purpose of recruitment itself, to choose a person who fits who fits best for the job. And recruiting is also directly related to the labor market shift. So we know in recruiting, a company has to give out money, or we know as expense, which is quite expensive, but company has to realize that quality might be an important trade-off. So cost of hire and cost of vacancies might be high, but if the cost can drive the company to get a workforce quality to get better and better, then why not? So in this chapter, like usual, we also have the HR headline, which talk about the passive recruiting becomes active. So from this HR headline, I can learn that passive is approach via online tools, especially used for executive and other hard to fill the openings. Besides that, search for consultants using passive recruiting in order to locate possible individuals to fill jobs to which consultants have been assigned. And I can say that this approach is one of a kind efficient and also effective way for recruitment, since internet is actively used by society nowadays and everyone can search it, everyone can reach the internet. So this would be a nice approach for the recruiter. Next, we will talk about some things that employer has to do as a recruiter. The first one is know the industry and where to successfully recruit qualified employees. The second one is identify keys to success in the labor market, including competitors recruiting efforts. The third one is cultivate relationships with sources of prospective employees. And the last one is promote the company brand so that employer is known as a good place to work for everyone. That's it, the job, of course. Okay, next is about training for recruiters and managers. This is an important thing because it's related to how much training will be given to recruiters and managers. There are some crucial learning activities given by the trainers related to which one is violating EEO and how to be delicate towards the diversity issue with applicants, especially when you talk directly to them. And therefore we will also have communications training skills for the employer. Besides that, employers also have to learn about ethical behavior of recruiters during the recruiting process. Next, I will talk the components of the labor market itself. The first one, we have labor force population. The second one, we have applicant population, and the third one, we have applicant pool. Before, I have already mentioned about applicant population, so here I will give the things that has to be a consideration for determining the applicant populations. The first one is number and type of recruits needed. The second one, timing of recruiting to ensure timely placement. The third one is external and internal message on job details. The fourth one is qualifications of competence applications that should be considered also. And the fifth one, we have sources of obtaining qualified applications. The sixth one, outside and inside recruiting means to be used. And the last one is administrative recruiting and application review activities. And do you know that recruiting for smaller firms can be challenging? It is because most small firms doesn't have the internal bandwidth to have a designated person working on equity efforts within their organization. Okay, I have already mentioned 2 or 3 times about labor markets. Labor market itself is a place where employer and also people come together to bargain for labor and wages or other forms of compensation. It can be categorized by geographic area, industry, occupation, qualifications, and other characteristics. Okay, next I will talk about some things. Let's just start from the first one. The first one is recruiting presence and image. Recruiting effort may be viewed as either continuous or intensive. Continuous efforts is to recruit over the advantage of keeping the employer in recruiting market. Meanwhile, intensive effort to recruit may take the form of vigorous recruiting campaign aim at hiring a given number of employees, usually within a short period of time. The second one is employment branding and image. The employment brand or image of an organization is the view of it held by both employees and outsiders. Organizations that are seen desirable employers are better able to attract qualified applicants than those are having poor reputations. Besides that, companies can spend considerable effort and money establishing brand images for their products. The next one is professional employer organizations and employee leasing. The employee leasing process is simple, where an employer signs an agreement with the PEO after which staff is hired by the leasing firms and leased back to the company for a fee. In turn, the leasing firm writes the paychecks, pay taxes, and prepares and implements the HR policies. And after that, they keep all the required for the employer. PEO itself has its own workforce, which they supply by a contract to employ with jobs. Okay, the next one is regular versus flexible staffing. A number of employers have decided that the cost of keeping a regular workforce has become excessive and is growing worse due to the economic, competitive, and governmental considerations. And the large number of employment regulations also constrains the employment relationships, making many employers reluctant to hire new regular full-time employees, while flexible staffing uses workers who are not traditional employees, and by using this arrangement, which allows an employer to avoid some of the cost of full-time benefits such as vacation pay and also pension plans. The next one is temporary workers. Temporary workers are contracted workers who perform a job for only a short amount of time. So in certain time, maybe in 3 months, they have already ended their job because the contract is already done. And the next one is independent contractors. Independent contractor is a worker who performs specific services on a contract basis. The use of independent contractors is that some employers experience significant savings because benefits are not provided to those individuals. The next one is recruiting an EEO or in the diversity considerations. So recruiting is a key employment related activity which is subject to various considerations, especially equal employment laws and regulations, or we know as EEO. The EEO guidelines state that no direct or indirect references implying gender or age are permitted. It affects interviews, advertisement, and other recruiting activities. Nowadays, a broad range of factors applies to recruiting diversity. Non-traditional diverse recruiters for certain jobs may include the first one, person with different racial, ethnic, or background. The third one, older workers work over 40 years of age. The third one is single parents. The fourth one is worker with disabilities. The fifth one is welfare to work workers. And the last one is homeless or substance abuse workers. Okay, next we have internet recruiting. The internet has become a primary means for many employers to search for job candidates and for applicants to look for jobs. The growth of internet use is a key reason that following employer actions occur. The first one, adjusting general employer recruiting system to use new approaches. The second one is identifying new types of recruiting for specific jobs. And the third one is training managers and HR professionals on technical recruiting sources, skills, and responsibilities. Next, we have e-recruiting means. The growth of internet has led both employers and employees to use internet recruiting tools. Of many recruiting sites using special software, the most common ones are internet job boards, professional and career websites, and also employer websites. And the last one is recruiting and internet social networking. The internet has led to social networking of individuals on blogs, Twitter, and a range of websites and the other social medias that we have right now. Many people nowadays initially use the social media more than job board sites. Social networking sites allow job seekers to connect with employees in the potential hires. Okay, next I will talk about the advantage of internet recruiting. The first one, if many employers have saved money using internet recruiting versus the other recruiting such as newspaper, advertising, employment agencies, and so on. The second one is with internet recruiting, jobs are posted globally so that potential applicants which is living in other geographic areas or in other country can view the job openings posted on internet. And the next one is internet recruiting also can save time, and applicants can respond quickly to job postings by sending electronic responses. And if we have advantage, of course we also have the disadvantage of internet recruiting. The first one is internet recruiting often creates additional work for HR's staff, HR members, and other internally because of the broad exposure. And the next one is some applicants may have limited internet access, especially individuals from lower socioeconomic groups. And from certain racial or ethnic groups, because internet access in every country is different, and internet access in every region in the country is also different. So for the last one is many individuals who access internet recruiting sources are browsers who may submit resumes just to see what happens. So it means they're not actively looking for a new jobs. They're not serious in looking for a new jobs. They only want to see which is how the response of the HR from a company when they submit the resume. So that's it. In recruiting sources, we have the internal and the external one. Here I will mention the external recruiting sources. The first one is we have media sources like newspaper, magazines, television, etc. And the next one we have competitive recruiting sources, where other sources for recruiting include professional and trade association. And then we have employment agencies, we have labor union, we also have job fairs and creative entities, which we usually see in university. And the last one we have educational institution and also recruiting. As we know, college and university students are significant source of entry-level professionals and technical employees. So the external recruiting has advantage. The advantage is new sources bring new perspective, training new hires may be cheaper and faster, and also new hires are likely to have fewer internal political supporters in the firm, and also they can bring new insight and also expertise. But the disadvantages is the firm may not select someone who will well fit with the job, and the organizations, and also the process may cause moral problems for internal candidates who are not selected. And the last one is new employers may require longer adjustment period as well as the orientation effort. Next, I will talk about effective recruiting ad. So in effective recruiting ad, there are some things that including here. The first one is information on the job and on the application process, which include job title and responsibilities, geographic or flexible location of job, starting pay range, acceptance of online applications, where and how to submit applications or resume details, and closing date of applications. The second one is desired candidate qualification, which include years of experience, 3 to 5 key characteristics of successful candidates, and also special useful work capabilities. The third one is we have information on the organization, which include organizational values and culture, an EEO employer, primary business capabilities and unique characteristic, and reconnection. Okay, the conclusion of this chapter is, okay, first I will talk about what this chapter about. I will say it one more time. This chapter is about recruiting and labor market. I already read this chapter, and because I have already read this chapter, I think my knowledge about this chapter is become better, because I don't really know and I don't really understand about the process of recruitment itself. But after I read the chapter, I have insight about how the recruitment itself looks like, and also how recruitment is done, how recruitment can be done by online or offline, and how recruitment related to EEO, because as a recruiter, when we talk directly to the job seeker, we have to maintaining our ethics, because we have communication skills that needed to be improved when we talk directly to the employees. And also from this topic, I also learned different ways of labor markets in order to be identified and also approached, because HR in every company don't want people that not serious for looking for a job. And also from this chapter, I also learned about specific things that needed to be a strategic recruiting decisions. I also know, yes, this is one important things. I also know about the external and also internal recruiting sources, what is their advantage and what is their disadvantages. And also I know more and also know more detail about the internet recruiting itself. So from the class, I really enjoy the discussion between my friend. I love listen to their opinion, because opinion and answer towards certain question that has already given to us. I really enjoy it because their opinion is very good, I think. And that's the end. This is the end of my video. So the point is, I really enjoy this class, and I really love having discussion with my friend about this chapter 6 that talk about labor markets and also recruiting, and this is very useful for myself. So thank you and see you on the next video.